Zach is making cookies, but he does not have enough brown sugar to make a full recipe. The full recipe calls for 2/3 cup of brown sugar. If Zach has enough brown sugar for 3/5 of the full recipe, how much brown sugar does he have? Represent the 2/3 of a cup of brown sugar the recipe calls for with a diagram. So let's go back to the directions before we do B and C or reading them. So we know that he does not have enough brown sugar for a full recipe, and a full recipe will be that one whole for brown sugar. So the recipe specifically asks for 2/3 cup of brown sugar, and that's recipe. Now let's take a look at Zach. Zach only has enough to make 3/5 of the full recipe. So Zach, I'm gonna just color code with blue, and the recipe is with green. So how much does he have, right? So they want us to represent the 2/3 of brown sugar, so that's the original recipe, so that's why I'm using green. And then in B it says represent the portion for Zach, and specifically for the portion of sugar if he only makes the 3/5 of the recipe. So we could do both representations in one picture. We'll take a look, and then later we have to answer the question, what mathematical operation should Zach use to find the amount of brown sugar he has? So let's take some notes in our paper. So we're gonna say full recipe, and then it needs 2/3 of a cup for brown sugar. So we want to write this down. And then for Zach, he has only enough of 3/5 of the recipe. So for Zach, he only has 3/5 of the full recipe. So these are important information. So now let's draw a diagram, and we're gonna start with A. It says represent the 2/3 or the cup. So 2 out of 3. So I'm gonna use bigger squares just in case I need to divide later more. So I'm gonna say this is 2/3 means divide by 3 equal pieces, and I can adjust my diagram as needed. So there's 3 equal parts, and 2 are for the recipe, and I was using green. Okay, so this is 2/3, and that's for the brown sugar. Okay, now we just represented it. Now represent the portion I'm going to be now for Zach if it only makes 3/5 of the recipe. So right now I have to ignore this piece because it's already, the brown sugar is not a whole, so I'm gonna ignore that piece. However, I have to draw 3/5 of the recipe, which I'm looking at this piece. Now that means we need to divide that into 5 pieces. So what I want to do is redraw my picture so I can have 5 equal pieces. So I'm gonna make my original recipe. I'm still gonna stick with 2/3 still, so 2 out of 3, but I'm gonna make it longer so I have 5 equal pieces. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm redesigning my first picture, and I'm still gonna shade. So there's all together 2 out of 3. So I got a shade. I was using green. Okay, so now it's 2 out of 3 again. So let's write that down on the top. So using my blue line is 2 out of 3 going for the brown sugar. So I still do not need that piece. So now out of the 2/3, that's what I need to concentrate. So now this is what we need to concentrate. We need to find 3/5. So they're asking us to find 3/5. That's why I went to divide into 5 pieces. I need to shade 3 of them. I'm going to use red. So actually let's divide them right now. So we're going to go horizontally. There's the lines, And I'm dividing all the way even though I'm not using, but really I'm concentrating on the, like I said, the red. But now we have 5 lines, 5 equal pieces. So this is 1 of 5, 2 of 5, and so on. So now we need 3 of them. So shade 3, or 3 lines in this case. So it's gonna be 1 line, 2, 3. Okay, so what is the actual result? So we represented both A and B in the same diagram. So we need to write an expression of how we got that red and what operation could we use. So yes, we should use multiplication. So we started with 2/3 from the brown sugar. So we started, however, we can only make 3/5. So we use 3/5 to make what we have, and they gave it to us that Zach only can use that. So the expression, so this one is Zach's. So we needed to find 3/5 of the original 2/3. So the one I started was the original. And what operation is that? So it becomes multiplication. So it's 3/5 times 2/3 is the expression with the multiplication. Now what is its value? Go ahead and multiply. You should get, like I said, well, now we have to compare with the whole what we're getting. So we're getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of how many total of this? And I can see that 3 times 2 is 6, and then 5 times 3 is 15. I can see. So when you do the answer compares to all the outside, because the outside was the whole, like if we were gonna use 1 cup. So finish that problem on your own by writing the expression and calculate. I just said it out loud what the answer is.